Welcome back to Master 79. In this lesson we take on an ielts writing task 1 with 2 charts, a line graph and a pie chart. We will read the data together, brainstorm it, and then build a complete Band 9 model answer sentence by sentence. Here is the task. The first chart illustrates the value of clothing exported from Bangladesh from 1988 to 2012. The second chart shows the destinations and value of exported clothing in the year 2012. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. This is the first chart. The vertical axis shows value in billions of United States dollars. The horizontal axis runs from 1988 to 2012. Look at the shape before you look at the numbers. The line does not rise smoothly. It jumps, then it flattens for a long time, and then it climbs steeply to the end. This is the second chart where those clothes went in 2012. The European Union takes $11.38 billion. The United States takes $4.53 billion. Other destinations take $1.55 billion. Canada, Japan, and Turkey together take less than $1.7 billion between them. One important warning before we write. The percentage labels printed on the original pie chart add up to 122%, so they cannot all be correct. Canada is labeled 24%, but 0.87 out of 19.09 billion is only about 5%. The dollar values, however, are consistent, so quote the dollar figures and hedge your percentages with roughly or around. Now let us brainstorm the line graph. On the left, what the line actually does. It rises from almost nothing to almost 20 billion in 3 distinct phases: a steep climb, a long flat decade, and then growth that restarts around 2003 and never stops. On the right, the numbers worth quoting. Amount 0.2 billion at the start, a plateau of roughly 2.5 to 3.5 billion, about 6 billion by 2006, about 12 billion by 2011, and almost 20 billion at the end. Now the pie chart. 2 markets dominate the European Union and the United States. Together they take over 80% of all exports. Canada, Japan, and Turkey are tiny by comparison. In fact, other destinations, at 1.55 billion, are cranks all 3 of them combined. That contrast between the giants and the minor markets is the message the examiner wants to see. Here is the plan. 4 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, the introduction, paraphrase both charts and give no data at all. Paragraph 2, the overview, the 2 big messages, and still no data. Paragraph 3, the line graph, phase by phase. Paragraph 4, the pie chart, from largest to smallest. That structure alone protects your task achievement and your coherent scores. Paragraph 1, the introduction. The line graph shows the value of clothing exported from Bangladesh over the 24 years from 1988 to 2012, while the pie chart breaks down the destinations of those exports in the final year of the period. Notice illustrates becomes shows, and shows becomes breaks down. That is paraphrase, not copying. Paragraph 2, the overview. Overall, the value of Bangladeshi clothing exports rose dramatically across the period, with growth accelerating sharply in the final decade. In 2012, the great majority of these garments were destined for just 2 markets, while every remaining destination took only a marginal share. 2 sentences, 2 charts, and deliberately not a single figure. Paragraph 3. The line graph. In 1988, exports were worth a mere 0.2 billion United States dollars. The figure then climbed quickly to around 2.4 billion by 1992, after which it leveled off, fluctuating between roughly 2.5 and 3.5 billion for the next decade. From 2003 onwards, growth resumed and steepened considerably. The value reached about 6 billion by 2006 and doubled again to approximately 12 billion by 2011 before surging to almost 20 billion in 2012. Paragraph 4. The pie chart. Turning to destinations, the European Union dominated in 2012, absorbing clothing worth $11.38 billion, or close to 60% of the total. The United States was a distant second at $4.53 billion, roughly a quarter of all exports. The remaining markets were marginal by comparison. Canada took $0.87 billion, Japan $0.40 billion, and Turkey just $0.36 billion, with a further $1.55 billion going to other destinations. And here is the complete answer. Pause the video now and read it through as a whole. Watch how the introduction and the overview carry no figures at all, and how the 2 detail paragraphs each take 1 chart and work through it in a logical order. Before we finish, the language that earns the marks for change climbed quickly, leveled off, surged, growth steepened considerably, fluctuated between roughly X and Y, for proportion, dominated, absorbing a distant second at marginal by comparison, and a further 1.55 billion went to. Learn these as whole phrases, not as single words. Why we assess this as Band 9, Task Achievement. Both charts covered a clear figure-free overview, key features selected rather than every data point listed, coherence and cohesion, 4 purposeful paragraphs following the shape of the data, lexical resource precise, varied language used naturally, grammatical range, complex sentences, comparatives and non-finite clauses, accurate throughout. And to be honest with you, Band 9, here is our own assessment against the public ielts band descriptors. It is not a certified examiner score. Now it is your turn. Write your own answer to this task. Give yourself 20 minutes and aim for 170 to 200 words. Then compare it to the model, criterion by criterion. If this helped, subscribe to BMaster79 for more IELTS walkthroughs. See you in the next lesson.